The word somatic means body, and so everything to do with the body. So we're going to be looking at the bodily systems and how our emotions affect these systems. So starting with the brain and the nervous system, but also most importantly the heart and yes, the circulation system. But we're not so concerned with that. We're more concerned with the rhythms of the heart and the how fast and how hard it pumps and what's it doing and how it's making us feel, because the heart is really the core, the epicenter of our human experience. And the heart is also closely connected to our lungs and how we breathe and how energy is distributed throughout the body, because oxygen is the key to this reaction that releases energy in the body. So emotions change how we breathe, and because breathing is a liminal thing, it's something that often we don't have to think about and don't control, and sometimes we can control. So um, it can be a pathway back into the body and back into the unconscious patterns and states in the body. And then there's digestion, and so emotions also affect, and our upbringing and self-regulation also affects not just how we eat and what we eat and how energy is distributed and in the body, but also it's like, when you talk of having a gut feel about something, it's not just a figure of speech. It's a very real thing. I mean, uh, the gut is just as much a part of our emotional experience as the heart, even though we don't often realize it. So we feel our emotions in the heart and the gut. And a lot of people who have um, certain emotional issues also tend to have heart or gut complications. There's the endocrine system, the glands, the adrenal glands, and there are many different glands throughout the body, but they're also involved in the whole emotional situation. And then there's the sexual and reproductive system, and of course the immune system. And yeah, so I'll be focusing on trauma and how trauma affects the body. But trauma is just one of the emotions. It's an extreme state of terror, extreme fear. It may also have a component of physical pain. So, yeah, when there's a traumatic situation or abuse, then what often happens if the child is unable to do anything about it, to take action, to fight or flee, to stand up for themselves or to get away, then all they can do is to freeze. And this freeze response is a highly energetic, charged, and muscularly tense inner experience. It might last a short time, maybe a few minutes, or it might be a longer time, and a chronic thing that's happening day after day for years. So depending on the frequency, the duration, the intensity, and the period, the time in their life, how early in their childhood this experience happened or this abuse began, there will be within the body this highly charged, pressurized bundle of raw, volatile terror. And also, like what happens when we, in a traumatic situation that we can't get out of, when we in this freeze, immobilization, dissociation response. When dissociation kicks in, the body numbs out sensation and feeling so that we don't have to suffer. And so, for many people, this can be like they describe it like an out of body experience. They call this depersonalization. Because you can't feel your body anymore, it feels like you're outside of your body. People actually have the visual of like looking down on themselves from above, um, or they have the sense that whatever is happening is not really happening to them. They call this one derealization. It's not real, and so yeah, this helps the child to compartmentalize that experience and to push it away so that there's not complete psychological annihilation, and the child can actually get up the next day and function and live, and so that horrible experience is is so it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because then the child can still live and still function, but it's a curse because now this raw, volatile, volcanic bundle is trapped down there. And so the child turns her attention away from uh, anything that can take her back there, because there are many stresses and triggers in the environment that um, can re-traumatize and re-dissociate, so she develops these fixations and interests and um, distractions and entertainments to not have to feel and go back into that, so there's this turning away from that traumatic bundle and the bodily state of it, so there's this increasing disconnection from the body and the sensations and the feelings in the body, and an increasing abstraction into an externalization, projection of the self into the world and to the things out there, and abstraction into knowledge and thinking and facts and ideas, and so becoming more intellectual and or spiritual, or yeah, and so this also affects breathing, and so the child's breathing becomes shallow and becomes erratic.